From boring Oregon to Satan's Kingdom, Vermont, some American towns and cities have the strangest names. In this video, we're uncovering 15 of my top favorite weird American location names and seeing if we can figure out where in the world they come from. First up is Satan's Kingdom, Vermont. Let me repeat that. Satan's Kingdom. You heard that right. I had no idea Satan was from Vermont, but apparently he is. This is an unincorporated community in Addison County, Vermont, right along the shores of Lake Dunmore, and apparently it got its name because the rocky soil here wasn't suitable for farming. I feel like Satan's Kingdom is still a bit much, even if you can't grow crops there, but there you go. Next up is Boring, Oregon, a community south of Portland, which apparently actually is relatively boring, even though it wasn't actually named for that. It was named after William H. Boring, an American Union soldier who fought in the Civil War. He was later a pioneer, settling in Oregon around 1874. He even donated land for the community's first schoolhouse, so he wasn't a bad guy, just boring. Luckily, Boring has rolled with the funny name and paired itself with its sister town, Dull, Scotland. Number 3 is OK, Oklahoma. For some reason, this one makes me laugh even more than the others because it's not even fully committed to being boring or dull or belonging to Satan. It's just okay. Apparently, this town was named after the OK Truck Manufacturing Company, and if you're not from America, you should know that OK are the postal initials for the state of Oklahoma. However, the name of this area is actually spelled O-K-A-Y. Next is Pie Town, New Mexico. Named for an early bakery that specialized in dried apple pies, this community also embraces its name and holds a pie festival on the second Saturday of every September, which includes a baking contest, games, music, lots of pies, and more. Next is Peculiar, Missouri. Peculiar seems a little bit unhappy with their name based on their website, which talks about how the name overshadows the rich history of the area, but the name is funny and it has a funny story. Apparently, when the town was being named, they tried to pick multiple different names that were already being used by other towns. So there was this back and forth between them and the postal system, on and on and on, until finally the officials at the post office sent a letter saying they needed to pick a name that was more peculiar. So that's what it became. Number 6 is Hell, Michigan, about an hour outside of Detroit. There are multiple origin stories to the name, including possibly being named for the hellish conditions experienced by the first explorers there, as it would have been a really thick forested area with a lot of mosquitoes and wetlands. But the most fun explanation is that when Michigan became a state, George Reeves was asked what he would like to name the town he helped settle. Apparently he replied, "I don't care, you can name it Hell for all I care." The United States Postal Service doesn't actually recognize Hell as a town for mailing purposes, but they embrace the name of this tiny hamlet as it draws visitors to the area who they hope will stay for the actual natural beauty surrounding Hell. Then you've got ones like Slaughterville, Oklahoma, a town named after a grocery store run by a man named James Slaughter, so it's not as vicious of a name as you might think. However, PETA apparently offered the town money to change the name to Veggieville, but they did not accept. Now, some towns have actually changed their own names. So, for instance, Dinosaur, Colorado was not always called Dinosaur. It used to have a different name, but changed its name in the 60s to capitalize on their proximity to the Dinosaur National Monument nearby that contains dinosaur fossils. Moving on, there's a Canadian, Texas. Nothing to do with actual Canadians, but with the Canadian River that's nearby, which is a tributary of the Arkansas River. Next up is Fry's, Virginia. Not named for the American love of fries, unfortunately, because that would be more fun, but it was named after a man named Francis Fries, a cotton mill owner who helped play a key role in the establishment of the town of Fry's. Moving along, Truth or Consequences, New Mexico is a funny one. This is another town that changed their own name. In the 1950s, a radio host challenged American cities to change their name to the name of his quiz show, Truth or Consequences. It used to be called Hot Spring, but they decided to go for the challenge, and now it's truth or consequences, but I do wonder with this one if they thought about the consequences. Next is Why Arizona, a rural community in Arizona that was named simply because state law required all city names to have at least 3 letters. They wanted to name the town the letter Y, but they had to settle for W-H-Y. Then there's Accident, Maryland. The town is actually there on purpose, not on accident, but apparently when the area was open for settlement, there were 2 speculators, Mr. Beale and Mr. Deakins, and they went out to survey the acreage to decide what land would be theirs. They accidentally both tried to make claim to the land, and because they were friends and there was plenty of land to go around at the time, Mr. Beale was given the land and it was called Accident, which is a wholesome story from 1774 if I've ever heard one. Now we've had Why, but how about Whynot, North Carolina? Which was named because they couldn't decide on the name of the community and they were all getting bored at this meeting, so someone finally said, why not name the town Whynot and let's go home? Which I really respect because I feel like we have all been there. And finally, Embarrass, Minnesota. Unfortunately, it's nothing to do with the meaning of the word in English, but it's an anglicized version of a French-Canadian name for the river, which was translated to River of Obstacles or Obstructions, but it became the Embarrass River and started showing up on maps as early as the 19th century. That brings us to the end of this video. Leave any funny American place names that you know down in the comments, and thanks so much for watching.